What's up, everybody? It's OC Motor back at you with another one on Chris Got Games, and today I'm sure you're wondering what we're going to be talking about. But before we get started, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share with friends, comment down below, dislike the video if you choose to. And without further ado, hold on a second. There we go, that's better. Today, or first of all, I'd like to shout out again, OB1 Plays, OBE1 PLAYS at YouTube. Let's get him to 100,000 subscribers. It's blasphemy that he hasn't got there yet. OB1 Plays on YouTube. And today we are going to be doing another controller review video. And so the controller we are going to be reviewing today are the Nintendo Switch JoyCons. So what do I think about the Nintendo Switch JoyCons, and what is my rating of these going to be? So first of all, I think these are a neat little unit for what they are, and I like the fact that the Nintendo Switch is the only gaming system that technically comes out of the box with two controllers, because you can use these Joy-Cons as a separate controller. So this would be controller 1 and this would be controller 2. So technically you have two controllers, which is pretty cool. Also, I like the fact that these were the very first controllers, or peripheral, to include, as far as video game consoles and what goes, to implement HD Rumble. So all you PS5 users out there and whatever else, thank Nintendo, because everybody always copies Nintendo's ideas. Thank Nintendo for putting HD Rumble in these, so you can have haptic feedback, which is just a layman's term for HD Rumble in the DualSense controller. But so what do I think about these? Well, first of all, I don't know who Nintendo originally geared these towards, but I mainly play I never really detach my Joy-Cons from the console. When I play in handheld mode, I have these attached to the console, or if I play in tabletop mode, I use the Pro Controller. And again, sorry for this rocking back and forth. That's just part of my mental health. You'll just have to deal with it. But, I just don't see these as a viable option to use as a standalone controller. And I guess that would be dependent on what type of game you would be playing. Now, maybe if you hold the controller like this and you're playing Sonic, and you just go left and right and you're pressing a button to jump and stuff, it's cool. But as far as I don't know, and hopefully there'll be a revision of the Switch eventually later down the line that will have bigger Joy-Cons, because that's how small it is, in my hand. So it's really, unless you use it sideways, it's really hard to use the thumbstick and then use the buttons. Whereas when it's on the console, you use a thumbstick here and then you press the buttons here. So, that makes it way easier. But, one of the flaws of this controller is, and it's been a gripe that a lot of people have, is that it doesn't have a D-pad. If you look at these Joy-Cons, they don't have a D-pad. So, you know, that's a big flaw. I mean, this is technically the D-pad, and I've used this, and it seems to work just fine, you know, but it doesn't have any, you know, it just up, down, left, right. It doesn't have any, you know, angle buttons like up, right, up, left, down, right. It's just up, down, left, right. So, you know, that's one of the gripes. Another gripe is just the size of them. They're like too small. One other gripe is the price of them, and another gripe, I guess, would be also that you can't buy these separately. So if one of your Joy-Con breaks, you have to buy a whole nother set. You can't just buy one Joy-Con. You know, the feel is, it's, you know, it is what it is. And I don't like how, like, so if you're player 1 controller and you're player 2, these thumbsticks are going to be in a different position. So you may have the upper advantage in, say, Mario Kart or something because of where the thumbstick is placed. I think they should have made this like the Wii U Pro Controller, where both of these thumbsticks were at the top and then the buttons were below it. That's how I personally think they should have made it. And the Pro Controller has oblong joysticks, but I think that's fine for the Pro Controller. But for these, it should have been both at the top and then the buttons below it. And then, as far as functionality, I mean, you know, I haven't really used these like other people have, so I don't know. I can't comment on it, but I've heard that people have had connection issues with these where all of a sudden their Switch will not recognize the Joy-Con and they have to like reconnect it or recalibrate it to register. So that's an issue. I heard that once you put these on the system, they're not that stable, they're not that sturdy, so if you're not careful, they can kind of more or less pop off easily. And then also, I don't know how the battery life is in these. I've never used these standalone, so I don't know how the battery life is. So I can't comment on that. But so what would I rate these? You know, and I know people are like, oh, you know, since the Switch has come out, they haven't updated the Joy-Cons or came out with a new version or upgraded them. But, you know, if you look in the past, no companies have really ever updated a controller. The Sega Saturn controller stayed the same. The PlayStation controller stayed the same. The only thing they updated on the PlayStation controller was they added joysticks to it, which is the original one had a D-pad, didn't have any joysticks. So, you know, the 360 controller stayed the same. The only difference that it became was that it became wireless versus wired. The PS3 controller stayed the same. You know, the PS4 controller stayed the same. So why is it that people need to stress that Nintendo needs to upgrade the Joy-Cons when no other controller has been upgraded? The only controller in recent memory that I can think of that was upgraded was the Wiimote. And it was basically the same exact Wiimote. The only thing that they added into it was Wii Motion Plus, and that's it. But it was the same controller. So, you know, I just don't get why there's a huge stress of this being upgraded. I would just change the size of it. And other than that, I would have to rate these. Unfortunately, a 4 out of 10. They're just not. I don't know. I mean, they work for what they are, but other than that, I would have to rate these a 4 out of 10. And so that's my opinions and my ratings on the Switch Joy-Cons. And that's all I wanted to cover today. And that's another video on Chris Got Games, OC Motor, C Duckets with another one, signing out. Peace.